F2L stands for first two layers, which, as the name suggests, solves the first two layers of the cube all in one massive flow in one step instead of two. Where in the beginner method, we have to first insert the corner and then insert the edge above it. And this method, consequently, is going to be much more efficient and faster than the beginner's method. This video will introduce you guys to a beginner-friendly version of F2L, where there's no algorithms needed and everything is intuitive. So let's get started. Before we get into actual pairing part of F2L, we have to learn a few basic inserts. So this is a paired pair, and this pair needs to go in here, right? So this is our first algorithm, and it goes R, U prime, R prime, and that solves the F2L pair. This is the mirror case of the previous case, and it's literally just with our left hand. So this pair needs to go here, and it's already paired, so we go L prime, U, L, and that'll solve the F2L pair. Next is a split case. This is kind of harder to see. So the split case, remember, these two pieces are in like an L shape. So you see how this L points to the right side, and the white on the corner points to our right, so we know it's a righty. And to insert this split case with different color on top and here, we use this algorithm, which goes R, U, R prime. And for our last case is the mirror of the one we just did. And this L faces towards the left, and the white on the corner also faces left. Top color different, and it needs to go in here. And the algorithm for this is L prime, U prime, L. So those are our four basic inserts. Every single F2L pair will be set up into one of those four insert cases to be inserted. Step one is to actually locate the pieces that we want to solve for and make sure that they're both up in the top layer and, most importantly, separated from each other. So in this case, let's do the Christmas pair of red, white, green. So that's the edge, and this is the corner. But we notice that the corner is actually in the bottom layer. So we can actually take that corner out with the sexy move, which goes R, U, R prime, U prime. Now we have a workable case, which we'll get into in step two. So another case you can run into is this case where, see, like this pair is right here, but the pieces are actually attached and we can't do anything to them without moving them both. So we have to first separate them. And to do this, we usually use a hiding move. So in this case, we can hide this corner using this open slot here. Remember, anytime you hide the corner, the slot behind it has to be open. So let's hide the corner, and then the open slot is up. We can do a U move. This is the open slot, so we don't care if it gets disrupted, and we can reverse the hiding move to separate these two pieces. So it could also say you got this from this angle. You could use an F move to hide it, which is an F prime in this case. This is the open slot. Hide the corner into the bottom. One U move away from the corner, and then reverse with F and to find a separated case. And the same thing applies if a lefty move is required. And lastly, we can see that this edge and this corner should be a pair here, but the edge is actually not on the top layer. So similarly, we can just take it out with the sexy move, like the corner. So it goes R, U, R prime, U prime. And now we have converted these three cases into workable cases to be solved in step two. In step two, there are three possible cases after we've got both pieces onto the top layer and separated them. And the recognition has to deal with the top colors. So case one that we're going to look at is, what if the color on top are the same? So this case needs a bit of visualization. So imagine where this edge needs to go. This edge needs to go here with red on top and green. So imagine if this edge was here, then we will have a solved Christmas pair right here. So we can actually move that edge there right now using U2. But the problem with this approach is that we move the corner as well. So we want to only do a U2 that affects this piece and not this piece. So yes, we have to hide the corner once more, just like before in step one. So in this case, we can hide the corner like this with R, right? And then see how the slot is open. Remember, say if this was solved and you do U moves, you will be taking out an F2L pair. But since this is unsolved, we can hide the corner with R and then move the edge behind the corner. and reverse the hiding move with R prime. So that whole sequence would just be R, U2, R prime. And we have our solved pair. And this pair can be inserted here using insert 1, which is R, U prime, R prime. Let's look at another one. Similarly, how do we hide what we have to imagine? So this piece needs to go here, while this piece needs to be hidden during the U2. Again, that's an open slot that we can utilize, so we can do R prime to hide it, move the edge behind it with U2, and use R to reverse it. And here, we can use insert 2 to insert this in here, which is L prime, U, L. Another case we could run into is if the top colors are actually different. So we have the blue, orange, white here with the orange, blue here. These two should be in a pair, but the top colors are different. So if we use the hiding trick from before and move the edge behind, we actually get a flipped pair, which is not what we want. So in this case, we actually have to set up to either insert 3 or insert 4 with the split case, which we remember have different colors on top. But this has to be in an L shape. So how do we identify whether it's a righty or a lefty split case? So we have to see where this white corner is pointing. So move it in your right top corner like this and see where the white is pointing. If the white points towards you, then you know it's a lefty. But if the white points to the right like this, then we know it's a righty. And this edge will have to be here for the insert to work. So let's pretend that this is the right piece, and then we do insert 3, which goes R, U, R prime. See how we drag this piece along into this pair? So yeah, we have to move this piece into that position without moving the position of this piece. So once again, we have to hide this corner first. So we can actually just hide it with R prime. Remember, you have to use this open slot here. So we can hide it with R prime, and then imagine the L shape, right? So this piece needs to go here. So we hide the corner with L prime, and we move the edge over with U. And we reverse the hiding move with R. And see how that sets up into insert 3? And that can be solved with R, U, R prime. Let's look at the lefty case. Yeah, so we're doing this orange-green case right here. So say we get in this position, and we got the corner right in front of us, and the white is pointing towards us. So that means that this is a lefty case. And the lefty L should be held like this, and this edge needs to go here without moving this corner. So again, we find an empty slot where we can hide that corner into the bottom layer, right? The edge has to go there to form the L shape, so we move it over with U prime, and I reverse the hiding move with L prime. And then bring it over to the slot we want to solve and insert with insert 4, which goes L prime, U prime, L. This one is probably by far the most confusing, so don't worry if you don't get it right away. The last possible case is if the corner has white on top. And we actually have to hide the edge in this case instead of the corners like before. And to determine which way to hide the edge, see, we can hide toward the corner or away from the corner. We have to look at 2 stickers or color pieces on a stickerless cube. So the 2 we have to look at are this one and this one. So for the edge, it's the piece that's closest to the center on the side. And for the corner, it's the one that you can glance at from the back. So in this case, it would be red. If we move the corner over here, it will be green. So in this case, we're looking at these 2. So do they match or do they not match? Those are the 2 different cases. So in this case, they do not match. That means we have to hide the edge far away from the corner. So this is hiding towards the corner, and this is hiding far away. And just as a reminder, when you're hiding and doing U moves later, make sure the slot you're utilizing is open. So in this case, this slot is open, so I get to hide it with R. And we have to hide it with R in this case. So we hide it with R, and then we want to put this corner on top of this edge with U2. that we reverse our hiding move with R prime. And you see we here have a solved pair, which we can insert with insert 1, which goes R, U prime, R prime. The other variation of that case could look something like this with white on top. And our hint stickers are this one and this one, because we can glance at this, and this is on the side of the edge. And notice instead of being different, they're actually matching this time. And that means we have to hide this edge towards the corner like this. But remember, we can't do that because this is already a solved pair. We have to utilize an open slot, say this one. So let's move our edge here, and we can hide the edge now towards the corner with F. And stack the corner on top. In this case, it would be U, and then reverse our hiding move of the edge with F prime. And now we have ourselves another solved pair. And you can insert this with insert 1 once more with R, U prime, R prime. And insert 2 is fair game as well, so make sure to practice your lefty moves as well. So that was beginner F2L in a nutshell, and I know that's a lot of information in a very short period of time, so make sure to practice this a lot if you wanted to get faster compared to the beginner's method. So everyone will initially start out slower with F2L because we're just not as fluent at it as the beginner's method. But if we keep going and keep practicing, yeah, this is a way better and more efficient method, the beginner's method, and you will get faster. I actually have a PowerPoint associated with this entire video, and I'll link that in the description. Thanks, guys.